Thanks very much for checking out this episode of Turning to Him. If you enjoy what you hear, feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave comments, share it with your friends, all the basic stuff. When you do things like that, it makes it easier for other people to find the channel and add goodness into their lives. Thanks again. Okay, so tell me about learning how to love God.
Well, I think and that was the one where my baptism finally came. And I finally had to learn to sacrifice. Sacrifice. And actually, this kind of goes full circle because I just went through the same thing almost exactly 25 years later. I'm like, what? Have I not learned this lesson before?
I'm sure you're the only person that feels that way.
But I actually want to tell you, and I can't remember. I wish I knew I don't. Me and some friends of mine, we get together and we have this morning devotional, and it's actually with non-members and members, and then we just work on our businesses together, and it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that, and we were talking, about this exact thing. How, gosh, haven't we learned this lesson before? And sometimes that's a negative. Like it's almost like, wow, when are you going to get this?
Yeah.
When is this going to sink in? But what I loved is, and it's from one of these new conference talks, and I'm so sorry I can't. I'll go do some research and figure out what it was. But she was just relaying this to me, and she goes, it really is about this cycle. We're in a cycle, and it's not that we haven't learned the lesson. It's that every time we go through the cycle, we come closer and closer to Christ.
Mm.
That was so amazing. I'm like, that is so true. Because if we don't go through this hard stuff, then those are the opportunities.
Yeah.
Christ, right? When we don't have everything going perfectly, when all of our dreams are, shattered, or we feel like they're shattered. And I guess taking that from my mission, I finally realized I needed to sacrifice that baptism, that baptism. I literally was at the end of my mission. It was, I think the very last 2 months or something of my mission.
Yeah.
I hadn't baptized one soul. And so, of course, as a missionary, you're going, what the heck good did I do here?
Sure.
Like what am I doing if I'm not bringing people to Christ? And so, you could feel kind of like a failure. And I just remember I had to give a district meeting talk on sacrifice. And of course, that's one of those spiritual experiences. And the Lord's like, I need you to sacrifice your want to baptize. I was like, wow, you really are asking everything, aren't you?
Yes.
But then I realized that, so I did. He's like, you need to sacrifice your want to baptize, but you still have to work like it's you can't just give up.
Right.
And I was like, I didn't even know what that looked like, but I just relied on the strength of the Lord and just kept pushing forward and just asked him to help me to let go of that.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then I was rewarded. I had one little convert baptism because we were teaching a less active, and her son was not a child of record, which of course we didn't know. And I remember at the very end, we had his baptism and it was all wonderful and great and everything. And then my my zone leader came to me. He's like, hey, Sister Minor, did you know he wasn't a child of record? He is your convert baptism.
Yeah. Well, I love that because it's such a reminder of, look, why are you out there? Are you out there doing the Lord's work, or are we out there to try to have experiences that are fun to write home about? or to say,
Yeah.
hey, I was a good missionary.
Yeah,
I
because I
busted my hump out there and check me out. Or are
and
we out
then
here there doing his work?
exactly. And like it's easy to just flaunt baptisms, right? And just be like,
Hmm.
oh, I baptized all these people and blah blah blah. Like that gives us our self-worth. It
Yeah.
does or our worth to God, it's that's not he doesn't care about that.
Yeah.
And like again, full circle. My gosh, I just had the same experience where like I want this dream home. I'm like, come on, I'm like so close, We've got the lot, we've got all these things, and God is just like, you know, like it feels like he's ripping it away over and
Hmm.
over and
Hmm.
over again. And I'm like, do you really want me to give up my dreams? You told me to, I do a lot of meditating. I do a lot of, I have a lot of prayer. I do a lot of prayer journaling. I talk to God about everything. And I've had this dream for a very long time. And,
Yeah.
same thing with my sheets, like all of it. And I've really had to kind of just let go and say, okay, this really truly is in your hands. And I'm willing to sacrifice it. I'm
Yeah.
willing, if you're asking me to give up my hopes and dreams or whatever it is for all of us, whatever it is, there's something that we're holding on to that we're, mm, dare I say, idolizing,
Sure.
maybe putting before
Sure.
the relationship. Not that I wasn't still praying and all of that, but it was more of like that was my focus. Or like how many sheets am I gonna sell? And like how like I got really almost bitter, because
Hmm.
I'm like, people are not getting what I'm putting down here. How do they not get it? Like,
Yes.
and finally God is like, he's just taught me this over and over and over again in the last year. Like different focus, Stephanie, different
Yeah.
focus,
Yep.
you know? And that's hard. Those are those really deep lessons that are, so important for our progression and to be able to come to Jesus Christ. But you don't really want to talk about those.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are hard. Those are hard. And
That's the pride, letting go of the pride.
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That pride is such a big thing.
Well, and I think that mastery is about repetition. And so if we are going to be really good at letting go of pride, that means we're going to have a lot of opportunities to practice that. And it's going to
Oh,
hurt.
yeah.
And as soon as it stops hurting, okay, then we've learned the lesson and we're ready for the next lesson. But as
Until
long as it
maybe
can,
25 years later.
well, yeah. Well, I mean, you and me and the rest of the world. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard. But I think that's why we have these same experiences where, similar. I go back and I read my journal, and a lot of times I'm talking about the same thing that I'm wrestling with now. And I have those same thoughts of, am I in the remedial class here? Like, what's going on? How come I am not learning this? Well, it's because I haven't mastered it yet. And so I need more practice.
And
And
because
so,
you're coming closer to Christ through every cycle,
sure, sure. That's certainly the goal. That's certainly the hope.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I think he definitely has a way of doing that to us,
yeah.
humbling us to the point of like, okay, I give up.
I
Okay,
get it.
I am totally fine. I got
Yes.
you.